It's recording.
Hello, my name is John Soliter, and I am the author of co-author of a book called Leave Nothing to Chance. That's been on the Amazon bestseller list now since January of this year. On the subject of network marketing, 15 Principles for Success. If you haven't read it, you can purchase it on Amazon. Prior to that, I was the author of a book called Moving Up 2020, which is also on Amazon, was also an Amazon bestseller back last year, which seems like a long time ago now. 2020 seems like a long time ago. And the reason for this podcast is very simple. We are introducing people to great leaders in the network marketing industry, mostly distributors. Some will be corporate people, some will be influencers within our industry, but mostly people who are in the trenches every single day, building sales organizations to take care of themselves and their families. And, you know, along the way, I've met some great people. We had our first podcast the other day with Foster Owusu up in Toronto, Canada. And today you're going to meet a remarkable mother and son team. They happen to live in Atlanta, Georgia, and they are incredibly successful with the company that they're with. They have separate distributorships, but they work together. So I'm sure they're going to share a little bit of that. So let me welcome Mariluz Sanchez and Gian-Carlo Torres, and welcome to the call, guys.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for the invite.
It's our pleasure.
And well, thank you. Thank you for being here. And it's been such a pleasure to experience what you're doing as a family. It's so nice to see families involved in a business together, getting along, working together. And I guess, Mariluz, maybe that's my first question to you before we get started. How is it, you know, when do you take the mom hat off and put the upline hat on? And then when you put the mom hat back on? Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Well, you know, I think we've spoken about this before that I feel blessed. I've been a homeschooling mom since forever. And along the way, I have to say that I have great kids. I feel blessed that God gave me wonderful kids. I've always had a good relationship with them. But starting this business together has brought a relationship to a whole nother level. I think I've got to learn so many things from him that I've discovered so many things from him I did not know he had, you know, especially many talents that I knew that I didn't know he had. They were hidden and they blossom in the business. You know, we've talked about this before. We respect each other so much more. We had much love and respect before, but now we respect each other so much more. I don't see her as my baby where I have to scold him or let him know what to do. But it's just a really good relationship. And like sometimes we might not agree, but it don't matter. It's just part of our growth, part of our molding, adjusting, and making things work. I always tell everybody, I've been in other network marketing companies before, but this is the first time that I seriously believe that we've been successful. And I know that I wouldn't have been able to be where I'm at if it were not for him. And he has mentioned that before, that he would not have been where he's at without my wisdom because I've been in the industry before. So, you know, it's been wonderful. I think overall our relationship has strengthened, but our respect for each other as well.
Great. Yeah, it's so nice to hear, and it's such a incredible thing to watch you two work together and the dynamic and how you support each other, love each other, and also you're building a huge business on top of it, which is you know, all the more better. What a nice feather in the cap. And you know, when things hopefully calm down, you'll be able to travel again together as well.
Yeah.
Which, you know, how nice is that? Some of the beautiful vacations you get to go on in an industry like this. And well, let me ask you the same question, John. How's it working with mom?
Yeah, so you know, it's funny. We've gone through stages, right? So you know, like there were stages that, you know, since I didn't know about the industry, she knew about the industry, so that was a little, you know, confusing, you know, to learn from mom and you know about the business. And if I'm honest, 100%, at the beginning, I thought some of her advice was a little older, like, you know, like, oh, you know, like now it's different now, right? But then I had to learn how to be humble and listen to be like, okay, you know what? It's working for her, it's not working for me. So she's doing something, I'm, you know, like she's doing something better because she's having more results. Let me stop and learn from her. So that's, by me doing that, the business, that's also helped me in other areas of my life, right? To kind of like, okay, stop and listen, you don't know everything. And if she's having more results than me, she's doing something better than me. So, you know, something about the business that I think that she does a lot better than me is that she really does know how to nurture her team. She really does know how to nurture, motivate, lift them up. So those are things that I thought I was good. And then eventually I saw her really killing it. And I said, okay, no, she's better. Let me stop and learn from her. And I noticed by, kind of getting a little bit of this helped me become a better leader and vice versa. So, we were just talking about this yesterday.
Mhm.
Yesterday we had a long day, 10 hours of work maybe, or who knows more, but we were done, but we were so happy. Like, I would love to tell you that, like I was done working and no, we were so pumped up. Like we were like we did those 10 hours of work happier than ever. And now today we're going to have another long day. But, just like the Bible says that 2 is better than 1.
Mhm.
Truly, if I fall down, she puts me up. If she falls down, I put her up. And that's what we're kind of every single
And
day.
you should see us
Wow.
at the end of the day. It's funny because we're doing this together. We're doing these Zooms together, and then I'm giving my part, and then all of a sudden he adds up what was missing, and it's like, yeah, that's right, or he's doing his part, and then I put something in that we were missing, and at the end of the day, we do a fist pump.
Yeah.
We were like,
Boom.
yes, we killed it. We're such a dynamic duo. Together,
put
we're
some-
so much power.
We put some music.
Yes,
We scream a little
We were
bit.
doing this. We were like, we're so pumped. But it was because I don't have to tell him. He reads my mind and he jumps in and vice versa. So we've created this dynamic that
It's been incredible.
we actually enjoy.
Yes.
We actually do enjoy.
So meaningful.
Well, and you can see it whenever I talk to you guys, and we do stuff together, because obviously we're in the same company. You guys are just such a joie de vivre, as my French Canadian wife would say. It's a breath of fresh air to watch. The life force between the two of you, and it's great. It's great. It's something that all parents, if they had an opportunity to do so, work with their kids, should do. So it's great. So let's talk a little bit about Leave Nothing to Chance. Now, you were both featured in that book. There's 15 principles in that book, and let's do ladies first, if we can. Mariluz, what was your favorite principle in the book?
I was just talking about that to Gian-Carlo too. I would say because of my circumstances, because my job as a mom has always been first, because I still have a younger one. I would say is to commit, but with the commitment to create a balance. Because I originally started working this industry because I needed more time with my family. And in this business, if you're not careful, if you do not know how to create that balance, family doesn't come first. You can quietly obsess about reaching your goals. There's nothing wrong with that, because there's so many things we can achieve in this industry. Then forget what's really important. I did not want that to happen. I literally wanted to keep my priorities in order, which is God first, family second, and then third will be my career and my job. So yes, we need a commitment. We need a goal, but it was creating balance while I committed to something that I wanted to do that I knew would help my family in this process.
Great. Wow, that's a great answer, and such good advice. And you're obviously a person that's always had their priorities in order, and you've raised a remarkable family as a result, and you've built a great business. So congratulations again. And Gian-Carlo, what about yourself?
Yeah. So for me, it's definitely principle 1, which is wake up excited for the day. Because it's funny because when I first read this, I said, I had just read this in another book also. Here, it was different because there was stories, right? There was your story, there was Foster's story. And I related to this because if you wake up excited for the day truly does become meaningful. And I think work has to be meaningful. So if you're excited, you put that excitement in your work, you put that excitement in your Zoom, and everything just becomes, again, more meaningful. And when you work with meaning, you really enjoy your work and you actually don't want to stop. So I think that's why it's so important to wake up excited. And it's definitely my favorite principle. Now, my second principle, and I have to mention this, is commit or risk giving up too soon, because a lot of people have troubles to commit. They're in one company and then 2 seconds later, they're in another company. And then, another place. And then, before you know it, they're in 10 companies or they're in 10, projects. And that's not committing. It's not. And I remember that once we started, I told Mom, I told the whole family, I'm sticking to my company. And if everything goes okay, I'm going to stay here 40 years. and I'm going to commit till I get to the top rank, and I'm still going to help more people. So that attitude has truly helped us a lot, helped me. So by rereading that, it's like, okay, yep, commit, keep committing, don't give up, stay in that place, one project, one mission, one product, and stay there. So definitely principle 1 and principle 5, right, which is commit, has really shaped me as a person and as an entrepreneur, for sure.
So one thing I want to note for everyone watching the podcast too is tell them when you started, how old you were.
Yeah, so I started at 19 years old. Again, no special education, no degree. I was always a super hard worker and everything I did, but I had not found my career, right? And I wanted to find a career where not only was I learning, but I was also getting paid while being, while learning. And then, I saw that was network marketing. So I remember that once I really understood what network marketing was, I said, this was made for me. This was made for Gian-Carlo. I remember I told myself, this was made for me. So, I probably had, and I always say the story, like I probably had $50 in my name at 19, super broke, but I had a big desire. I've said this story a million times and it's true. Like I go back and I think, did I have any special talent? No. But did I have desire? Probably bigger than anybody at that age. So yeah, 19, and now I'm here.
Well, and I've obviously watched you the last number of years since we've known each other. I think the first time we ever met, I think we were in Houston. I may have been somewhere else, may have been in Mexico. I don't really remember now. It's a few years ago, but I remember talking to one of my colleagues at the table, and I said, "That young kid's got burning desire. I can see it in his eyes, and I can see it the way that you talked and the way that you approached people. And hey, here you are. You're doing great. You're doing wonderful things, and you're inspirational to a lot of young people who are looking for that career path. What am I going to do? Maybe they've got a lot of skills, but they don't know how to apply them, and they need that vehicle. And certainly network marketing, multi-level marketing, whatever we want to call it, it's all the same stuff. Certainly has been for you, and you're one of those. I know I kid you about being a young legend, but you're a young legend in the making, and you're going to do some remarkable things. You are doing some remarkable things, but you're going to continue to. So let's talk about the next thing. We all start somewhere, right? In a business like this. And a lot of the time, maybe we start in the business first and then we get information, or maybe we get the information first. And what I'm talking about is a book perhaps that inspired you. Maybe the first book that you read, or maybe the first book that you read that really got you, where you said, hey, I can do something remarkable with my life. Okay. So Mariluz, what was that first book for you?
Well, yeah, I have to be honest, Solider. I would love to tell you that I am a very avid reader, but I'm not. Then again, I do have certain books that really caught my attention. I am not a bookworm like Gian-Carlo, which, if you would look at his room, they're all full of books, and I admire that very much. But I like to be practical. I like to focus not in many books and see what I like about them. I'm very practical on things that I really want to focus and really, really want to learn and obsess in it. And I found many great ideas and great training with John Maxwell.
Mm.
I feel that this book is in Spanish. I don't know the title in English. In Spanish, is Las
I
15
think
Leyes. Is it the 15 Principles?
The 15 Laws of Growth. You have this book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This book.
Sure do.
And why do I like John? I feel John is very balanced in the way he helps us grow. And something that I like a lot about John Maxwell is that one thing that he teaches is in loving and taking care of your people, nurturing, taking care, be interested in their own interest, and that is very much the way I've built my company. And I love it, especially in the beginning of this book. It says that you hear a lot of people say, hey, are you ambitious? Yes. Do you work hard? Yes. But, that's just not enough. In this process, we see people that are ambitious. We see people that are hungry. You see people that want to grow, and there's so many things and goals that they want to achieve, but we all need self-development. In this process, nobody's perfect. In this process, you start in this industry, in this process, you start kind of getting to know yourself a little bit better. And you start, if you're humble enough, it's, books like these and a few more that start showing you, it's like a good mirror. It's like a good mirror that starts showing you, I think you should do better this way. I think you should better this other way. So I love John Maxwell because of that. There's another book that Gian-Carlo actually shared with me that I love it, which is The Power of Five.
Also by John Maxwell.
Also by John Maxwell. And what I love about John as well is that his stories and his chapters are really small, but in short, but they're so precise. For example, one that I love is about motivation. I have to be motivated. Gian-Carlo knows that every time I'm down, all I need is a little bit of motivation.
She's on fire.
And I'm on fire, just a little bit of motivation. Maybe somebody who has this powerful energy, you know how many times I'm a woman, John. You know how many times there's drama and you're like, what a terrible day. And all I need is sometimes just to speak out, and then I get a motivation. Hey, Mom, let's do this and that. It just helps me organize my ideas. So I've noticed that has been my great strategy to help my team. Not only do I need to educate them, I have to make sure that they're educated and they know what to do. They have the tools, but they also need that motivation. They also need to know that somebody has gone through that. It's okay to whine. It's okay to do drought for a little bit, but after a while, it's done. We move on. There's still a north. So I've found great. I found wonderful things with Jim Maxwell. I have to say he's my top author on books.
Great. Well, certainly one of mine too. And Gian-Carlo, first book that got you?
Yeah.
Was what?
The first book I read actually was, when I signed up, as a distributor, the instruction manual. And I remember in the instruction manual of our company, it recommends like 4 or 5 books, right? One of them was Moving Up 2021. I'm sorry. No, it wasn't 2021. It was just Moving Up, the original. And one of them was Secrets to the Millionaire Mind by Harv Eker. And I remember I bought a couple. Secrets to the Millionaire Mind was my first one. And I just realized that it really was about mindset. Like if you want to have your finances right, if you want to have a good business, you have to have the right mindset. I think that was my first book on mindset. Like I never realized how important mindset was and how important certain habits, right? High performers have other habits that low performers don't have. So that was my first exposure, I think, to personal development. Awesome book. Now, books that really have shaped my life that I've read 10 times, The Power of Five is one of them. Awesome book, just because it's so simple, right? It's to the point, it's so simple, and it's about industry, network marketing. I was really excited when Moving Up 2021 came out because my story was there. So I remember I was the happiest kid of that year. I remember, if you see my book, I think I have right here. This book, it looks like it's 20 years old because, it's, there's so many notes. I've read this book, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 times. And it just got me so excited. Like, wow, I started as this 19-year-old and now my story's here.
Actually, the really good thing about this book, the first one and the second one, right?
Yep.
Is that sometimes you think you're that one last Coca-Cola of the desert.
Yes.
And nobody else is like you, and nobody else has gone. And to learn how most of these successful people, they started at zero. They've gone through some tribulation on their way. Things have not always been easy. All kinds of people, moms like me, men of all different ages, many people who never went to college. It's just the fact that you can actually relate. Sometimes, John, I could probably, you're a man, you've done different things, you're a great athlete. I probably don't relate to that, but there's something about the process of growing your business that I can relate about and I can learn. And then I can look back and say, man, this is the way John did this. Maybe I should do it this way. Or maybe one of these stories are relatable to one of our teammates. Says, you know what? I remember this story. I want to share this with you. What are you going to do? This is what he did with this situation. What are you going to do with this situation? So definitely, we need those principles. We need those laws, but we definitely learn so much from other people, that I have to say that part of my growth has been learning from my teammates, learning from people like you, work in the same industry. And every time we go to the conventions, what do? We look up to people and say, wow, I remember when I used to be there and look at all the things that he has accomplished. So all the hurdles he has been able to succeed. So, definitely we learn so much from other people.
And just one more thing
Mhm.
about moving on 2020, actually, I've been saying 2021, 2020, is that it doesn't only teach you skills on how to be a network marketer, it teaches you how to think like a business owner.
True.
Mhm.
I think that's what I like, because sometimes, again, you come into network marketing, you think, but like you said in the book, you're going to earn $50K a month and you pay 0 taxes. In this book, it's like, no, you have to have your finances right. Think like a
Mhm.
business owner. Not only think about prospecting, think about marketing.
Mhm.
Those are things that I haven't gotten from a lot of network marketing books. But here it's like, okay, you're a network marketer, true. They're a network marketer principle, but you have to think like a business owner. That stayed in my mind. Again, awesome book. I mean, John, as you know, there are truly so many books that have really helped us, but Moving on 2020 is awesome. The Power of Five is great. The Millionaire Training by Larry Thompson. Truly, truly many books that have shaped my life.
And you build us up, because sometimes we think we're no big deal, and then all of a sudden somebody admires us and puts in that book. And I'm like, oh, maybe we're a little bit of a big deal.
Gives us more confidence.
But we're happy. We're happy that that our story can inspire somebody else, and that they can relate to this, and they can actually be successful because of our story. So we thank you for that.
Thank you, John.
Well, you're more than welcome. It's more than well deserved. The one thing you'll find in anybody I write about, I make sure that they're really doing the business, because honestly, there's a lot of frauds in network marketing. A lot of people write books and never built a business, for that matter. Yeah, great. They're a writer. And if you're reporting on the industry, it's one thing. But I wanted to write a couple of books as somebody who's done it. Okay. And also about people who I know are actually doing it or have done it at one point or another in a big way and in a good way and in a way with integrity, by the way, in an honest way, which is what it's really all about. But, you made a great point. I just want to reference for our readers, Mariluz, the great C.S. Lewis, right? A great theologian, writer, always said that, we read to know that we're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And you just illustrated that point so well, that, hey, there's other moms, there's other dads, there's other young people, there's other guys who were athletes that were going like, okay, what do I do now? I've been an athlete. Great. That won't make me a dime unless you're professional at it. They get into network marketing. There's older people, young people, different ethnicities, different religions, different everything. It's a big tent. And once again, you just illustrated that point so well. So let me ask you this. Before we go to the next subject, is there any additional book you want to mention? Mariluz, we'll start with you that has inspired you.
I have to be honest, and I'm sorry if I sound kind of like cliche, but believe it or not, my main book on a daily basis is the Bible.
Of course.
I always, with Gian-Carlo and me, we were talking about that. I love I love self-help books. I've read them before and they're wonderful. But sometimes, reading them, they all go to the basics,
Mm-hmm.
which, it's in the Bible. So I would have to tell you that, not because I'm a saint or I'm better than anybody, but I always find a lot of great treasures in it and a lot of great examples of how many servants of God in the past dealt with issues,
Mm-hmm.
dealt with people, with conflict, and in so many other levels. So I would have to say that that's actually my main book.
Great.
Then again, like I told you, I'm not an avid reader besides that, but I would have to say that all Maxwell books and your 2020 books, actually, look, let's put it this way. Because I was in that book, I was really excited about reading the book. It was just the fact that I was able to open it.
Ego.
And say, right, but it was awesome, just to open it and see like, whoa, there was so much more. There was so many treasures that I was able to find. So yeah, I'm very functional. And very
I agree with you.
Yes.
The Bible really is our book,
Yes.
but not to, since I know this is a generic network marketing call, if I have to talk about, truly business, again, as I mentioned, The Millionaire Training by Larry Thompson, which you're there, John, somewhere.
I am on the bottom.
Yeah,
right in the middle.
He is the person to ask about all the awesome books that you read.
This book, again, it's been, I've read it 10, 20 times. Like I'm a big believer. Don't read one book, read one book 1,000 times. That's my philosophy every single day. So The Millionaire Trainer, again, breaks out the concepts. Larry Thompson better than me. You know how good he is when it comes to concepts. Okay. So The Millionaire Training really would be my, the book, for whoever is watching this, go get that book. And John Saldo's there.
So, John, I want to ask Gian-Carlo a question now that we're having this conversation. So, anybody who has not done this before, what would be that first book that you tell them to get? Would it be that one?
The first book, no, the first book is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
Okay.
Yes, I do know that very well.
Yeah, short read. You can read it in 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how fast you read. And what it really, amongst other things, what it really addresses is that you attract what you are, not what you want to be.
Wow.
So if you want to attract good people, be a good person. If you want to attract people with integrity, have integrity. And that's the book. As you get into just about everything else that we teach in network marketing, that book would have been one of the staples that most of us read. I read it early on. I wasn't even in network marketing. I was had spinal cord surgery when I was 17. And I read a book by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale on the power of positive thinking. And then the second book I read was As a Man Thinketh. And my late father gave me both books, and they had been books that had inspired him. And that's kind of where I started. And that as I got into network marketing a couple of short years later, that's kind of what the foundation became of, hey, when I started to hear things, whether it was Larry saying it, who was my first mentor and still a good friend 38 years later, whether it was the late great Mark Hughes, whether it was Jim Rohn, I knew Jim a little bit, I knew Mark certainly as well. Whether it was any of those gentlemen, whether it was Bobby Depew, when I met Bobby, Bobby was one of the guys who really got the industry started way back in the 60s. Everything that they talked about kind of went back to that. And James Allen, once again, son of a Presbyterian minister, everything in that book, once again, comes from the Bible, basically. Right. So, the ultimate self-development book, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you only read the Bible, you'd be fine in this industry. Certainly, as Mr. Rohn used to say, certainly a lot of examples of what to do and what not to do in that book, So certainly good. So let's move on this. So what are you reading right now? What's if I came to your house right now, what am I going to find on your coffee table? Okay. John Maxwell still?
John, I'm telling you. Gian-Carlo, I was talking to Gian-Carlo the other days, and he said that recently, he's been focusing on certain books, but he reads them over and over again. He says, I almost become obsessed.
I do.
With the idea, because
I do.
I won't be able to be a mentor or a teacher unless I really know what I'm teaching and I'm applying what I'm learning. And let me tell you, you could just become a bookworm.
There you go.
That's it. But you could have that one book that gives you the basic principles of what to do, and you become obsessed. You just start reading over and over and over again, reviewing the things that probably, for example, reviewing my flaws. Okay, you know what? I noticed that this is a flaw that I have. Let me go back and read and see how I can fix it. But let me start applying the things that I just learned so I can become better at it. You'll almost become obsessed with that one chapter, for example. And you know what? Today I'm going to start applying what I just learned. And then, in whatever measure you start applying what you learn. Let me tell you, John, from last year, from December of 2019 till December 2020, our numbers went up 4 times. Quadrupled.
Maybe more. Maybe.
Let's be humble. They quadrupled.
Yeah.
And the thing about this is that we actually took advantage of 2020 and the circumstances of 2020 to fix things that we were not doing right.
Yes.
We had to acknowledge, okay, I want this to work this way, but I won't be able to go anywhere if I don't do this. If I don't start treating, this as this, if I don't start becoming, because see, in my case, I am a mom and a nurturer. So moms are doing always stuff for others. And you don't let them grow, right? So that was one thing that I noticed. I said, no, being a good mom is to help the little bird fly. And that bird might fall a few times, but you always guide them up until they are able to go free and fly and do their own thing. So there were so many things that, once again, sometimes you might go crazy. And if you're that kind of person, wonderful. Because I know many people who just love books and they're able to just engrave it in their brain and do it. But in my case, I like to obsess. Become a master at something, Because, for example, this has worked so well for me that I want my team to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
And take them step by step, because not everybody goes at the same speed either.
Mm.
Right? And understand as well the circumstances. Women move that one way and men do it in another way. So it's a good thing that I have my sidekick to be a man who can understand things in another perspective that allows us to have a balance to help everybody in the team grow. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my philosophy on not many books, but that one book. When I'm done,
Now talking
now
about
skip to
books,
the other one.
talking about books again. If you see my room right now, it's a mess just on so many books
No joke.
that I'm reading.
As a mom, I have to say it's a mess.
It's a mess. It's a mess. But
That's you got the mom hat on now.
if I'm talking about funny enough, you know, sometimes, so like I always have certain books. Sometimes, again, like this week, when it came to finance, I actually started reading Moving Up. So especially now with 2021, the stock market and everything else, I've been just kind of learning more on finances. So I went back on your principle on compound interest and how to divide your money. So that's why your book right now, I'm rereading it again. But one book I'm actually reading is her Courtney Epps, or Epps, however you pronounce her name. Epps. And it's More Relaxing, Less Taxing. So I realized that I'm actually not an expert in taxes. Of course, I'm not a CPA, and I'm not planning to be CPA. But I realized this week, you know what? I should be smarter on how I, on what I can write off and what I can't write off. And so this book is actually for home-based businesses, for network marketing. Mm-hmm. So I bought this a couple months ago. I had not had the chance to read it, and now I'm reading it. And again, why? Because we want to be a business owner. We want to really know everything, which is skills, finance, mindset, taxes, and all these things. So right now, I would say this is my priority, just because I realize I'm not fantastic at this topic. And so it's time to read. I think you have another book he's reading.
This was something that we thought, this year we had a great training with Randy Gage. And when I didn't even know who Randy Gage was. But we got great tips from him. And he mentioned his book on direct selling success to zombies. We got great perspectives on this, on how we want to build in the near future. Something a little bit different. Because that's something else. When you see somebody who's been in an industry that has been there for so long, and they continue growing their income, and they continue building, that's a good book to think about.
Great.
That will guide you a little bit more, but a little bit further on your business.
Great. It illustrates, you're both illustrating a great point. And that's really why I'm starting these podcasts, to be honest with you, is to get people to realize that all leaders are readers. Okay. It doesn't mean that you have your face in a book 24 hours a day. You got to work, you got to apply this stuff, but at the end of the day, it's those ideas. And to your point, Gian, that you're making about going back continuously, and Mariluz, you're making the same one, like with the Maxwell book, for example, and I do the same thing. I can't read something once. I'm not that smart. I got to read it over and over and over. And all of a sudden I go, oh, when he said this at that time, I didn't get it. But all of a sudden I read it again and I go, I know exactly what they means now, one illustration of that, is a little book that Jim Rohn wrote many years ago, based on the book of Ecclesiastes. It's called The Seasons of Life. And man, when I was your age, John, that book made no sense. I read it about maybe 25, 26 years. It made no sense. I hadn't lived yet. I mean, I was still kind of figuring out life, you know what I mean? And then you get into life and you read it. Not just business, but life. Right. And you start going, wow, I get the metaphor of going from winter time when things are dark to springtime when things get better. And if you just hang in there, springtime always follows winter, because that's the way the guy upstairs planned it. I mean, things like that where, I'm back to C.S. Lewis again. Wow, I'm not alone. Gee, somebody wrote a book on this and I'm feeling this right now, for example. So great stuff. So let me ask you another question. Let's digress a little bit into network marketing. You've both been extremely successful, and I know the company you're with, obviously I'm greatly familiar with. The prior company that you were with, Mariluz, I'm also very aware of. Let's start with you. I'm a new distributor. Whether you want to talk about the first 48 hours, whether you want to talk about the first 30 days or anything in between, Give me your best advice. We have a lot of new people getting into the industry right now. They're going to see this podcast and they're saying, hey, whether they join, this company or that company, it's all the same. How do I get started fast? How do I get this thing moving? So go ahead. Floor is yours.
You have to have a specific goal. The first thing we ask them is, what do you want? What do you want to get out of this? What is your why? For a long time, I thought asking people the why was ridiculous.
Cheesy.
I thought it was very cheesy, but no, it was my strong why that has me where I'm at right now. So asking always that question, and when I say asking, this is just not saying, what is your why? No, sometimes it's just pressing those buttons to really know what is their why. I always try to put myself in their position. I'm going to tell you what my why is so they can understand what a why. Sometimes, John, people don't even know what a why is. Some people are living life without knowing that there is a why, that they can actually have
mission,
a why.
they don't know.
They have no mission. So sometimes you have to ask key questions for them to understand what their mission is. Once we figure it out, what their mission is, then believe it or not, we help them organize their ideas of how they can accomplish their mission. Guess why? Because there's not a one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
There really is no one size fits all. I've had people in my team that have signed up just because they want to win a free trip and they want to give it to their wife. And once I know what their why is, then Gian-Carlo and I, we make a plan for them. First plan is education. You have to know how the company works. You have to understand our product. Okay. And you have to be part of our family. This is a team. This is not about you. If this sounds terrible, but that's just the way it is. This is about a family. Mm-hmm. This is about a team. This is about being humble. Do I say this many times? Are you willing to learn and be humble and allow us to teach you? I don't know everything. I'm sure I'm going to learn things from you that you don't even know you have. Mm-hmm. But, it's all about that, is learning your why, know what, your circumstances are, and help them plan a work plan depending on their goals and their circumstances. So it makes me feel good because I make them feel that they're not working for me, but that I am actually working for them. Not that I'm their slave, but I want them to feel that it don't matter what they do, it's okay. But then again, influence in a way that they feel they've made the decision.
Great.
Okay, it's just that kind of influence. And, Gian-Carlo and I at the end say, hey, whatever you want, it's okay with us. So we never make anybody feel, if somebody wants to earn $100 a month, we praise it, we acknowledge it, we acknowledge it like great, because that's what they're happy with. Then again, we're always trying to inspire, because of other people's stories, because of the family that we have, that you can do so much more. Are you ready to be taught? Are you ready to go that way? And I've noticed that influence makes them feel inspired, not obligated. And that has been the success for our business, that we've created a foundation of happy people.
Mm-hmm. Our retention is spectacular.
But it's because we have happy people. And what do? They feel comfortable inviting more people because they're inviting them to the happy family.
And they stay around the campfire.
Doesn't
matter what's the desire.
Exactly.
But to stay around the campfire. And you covered 90% of what we do. But if I have to share one thing to the ones that are watching or listening to this through podcast, find that one tool in your company that you can use so that you can have so that you can invite your contacts. But that one tool, okay? If it's if you're in a company that's selling a service, a health product or whatever, find that one tool that will educate your prospect. Like, just for example, like every single Monday we have what we call testimonial Mondays, as you know, John. And we always have a testimonial on our health product, as you well know. Mm-hmm. And I always record these testimonials and put it on a YouTube account. And the next day, in just that video, just last week, we had 200 views. And why?
24 hours.
Because people with high skill, John, and people with low skill are sending the video.
You can do the same thing.
And so You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be a superstar. You don't have to have high authority to send that video. And we were just training someone last week, and she said, that video, that testimony, I sent it to 40 people. What? So again, my recommendation for someone who just started the industry, started yesterday, is find that one tool that you can send to everybody. And you will be so surprised on all the results you're going to get. And then duplicate that, right? Because I always say you can't duplicate everything. There's been, I think, misconceptions on duplication. Before, people would think that you have to duplicate everything. That's not true in my opinion, but you can't duplicate tools. And tools are the ultimate duplication. Once you have a large team, John, as you know, sending the same tool, you can become whatever you want. So that's my recommendation, truly.
Great. Both tremendous answers and going to help a lot of people when they see this. So let's go to the last thing. You guys just referenced it a little bit, but maybe we can elaborate just a little bit more without getting into specific names of things. But one of the things I really admire about how I've watched you guys build your business over the last couple of years is how well you have used social media and how you're constantly communicating. Matter of fact, I'm on some of your social media, and I was kidding you, Mariluz, yesterday. Every time my watch goes off, I look at it. It's Mariluz again. Mariluz again. And by the way, they speak English and Spanish, so I get it in 2 languages. Believe it or not, I've helped to learn. It's helped me learning Spanish. Let's put it that way. When I go, oh, okay, I see it in English and Spanish. But let's go to that for a second, because that's something, Gian-Carlo, in particular, probably on your end, because of your age. Obviously, you grew up with, all the devices that your mom and I didn't. Obviously, so why don't you talk about a little bit about what you've done, because you've done a super job in how you communicate. So hey, let me shut up and let you talk about it, because you know a heck of a lot more about it than I do.
So whenever a network marketing gets into the industry and thinks about social media, they have to think social media in 2 ways. First, you have to create a social media account that could be Facebook or WhatsApp to communicate with your team. Okay. If you have 1,000 people in your team, it's insane to call each one of them to follow up with them. So it's better to have a community through Facebook or through WhatsApp. We're WhatsApp obsessive to create communities where we can communicate one message to 100 people and then create that community. It takes time to create a community. It's not for one day. But once you create a community, John, and for the listeners, people stick. They stick to you. They like you. They love you. They love the team. Now it's not about Mariluz or Gian-Carlo anymore. Now it's about Juliana, right? The distributor. And now they start to know the whole family. Mm-hmm. So now, let's say they order 1 box a month. It doesn't really matter. They know the whole family. And then sometimes, hey, here's a referral.
It's almost like they feel
part of a community, a mission.
It's almost like they feel committed,
yes.
that they know that they need us, but we need them.
Yeah, right.
like they look forward to, hey, I need to share this, or
because it's going to help the fam.
Because it's going to help the fam, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I think we've created within the past 4.5 years.
So with that in mind, that's the first thing you have to have in mind when creating social media. You have to create, again, through Facebook or WhatsApp or Telegram now, right? A community where you're sharing things with the team. That's step 1. Step 2, of course, is, okay, how can I approach people about the business or product through social media? There's a million trainers out there, a million coaches. Now, what I can say is, Grant Cardone says it, John, you know this, social media is all about attention. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. The more attention you get, the more people know you, the more people want to do business with you. It's that simple. It doesn't matter how you get attention. Truly does not matter. I know some people that are super hyper, so they go to TikTok and have made a big business through TikTok. I personally can't stand TikTok, truly, but because it's not my style. I'm not saying it's a bad thing,
but it works for others really well.
But I've seen network marketers recruiting tons of people through TikTok because it's their personality, right? For example, I'm an Instagram, Facebook guy, right? So what do? Well, my recommendation is, if you have a social media account, don't create a new social media account. Just stay with the one that you have right now. And if you're posting once per day, post 3 times a day. Keep being yourself. Keep getting more attention. And then from there, start DMing people, right? Which is direct messaging. Start having conversations with your own contacts through Instagram and Facebook. And you'd be surprised how many customers and distributors we've gotten just by sending direct messages to 10, 20 people. I've gathered so many customers, distributors, just through, and then what? Staying active, getting attention, because eventually let's say your friends don't respect you, or maybe they're not crazy about the idea that you do network marketing, the more attention you're getting, and the more, let's say, for example, let's say recently we had the CEO of our company be part of our Zoom. I put in my social media. So now what are people thinking? Wow, is Gian-Carlo serious about his business? Wow, he's serious. He's talking to CEO.
But at the same time,
You're following me?
But at the same time, wow, Giancarlo has a great business that is giving him all this free time
this
to
free
enjoy
time.
the things that he loves. I'm kind of liking what he does without us being one of those, like,
Annoying spammers.
spammers that honestly, it works for some people as well. But once again, we like to do things that we love.
Yes.
The things that we would be attracted to, or the things that we've been attracted to. It's like, I like her. I like what she does.
And you start becoming an authority for them.
There you go.
An authority in that. So now they say, hey, when it comes to health products, talk to Mariluz Gian-Carlo.
And talk about
business, talk to Gian-Carlo.
Talk about keeping positivity in your social media.
Yes.
Because social media could
be tricky.
It could be very tricky, and people could use it as
for politics and
for all kinds of, even for their own problems.
Yeah, right.
No.
Don't do that.
No, this is about attracting your tribe. Whatever you do, it's the kind of people you're going to start attracting. And let me tell you, John, and I think I've told you this before, I achieved my diamond rack through social media. I had never done a personal presentation.
Nope.
Wow.
It's about attracting
friends
possible through social media. It is possible. And because of through them, of course, I got a bunch of other connections or referrals of many people that I didn't know. But yes, social media is really powerful. And once again, there's not a one size fits all.
No, there really isn't.
Sometimes there's trainings, you need to do this.
No, not true.
No, you just get a bunch of ideas and you have to create.
And you pick your own.
You pick your own. That's what's been helping. And it's hilarious. How much do I put up on my business? Yeah, I put things here about my business.
It's about us.
But it's
you.
about us. Even about that one joke that made you laugh really hard. Oh my God, she's funny. I like her. But you call attention and there's stuff going on. And out of the blue, John, you have no idea how many times, hey, I need to talk to you. You're like, oh, sure.
Yeah, what's up?
I have some, and then they start talking to you about their problems, their health problem, whatever is going on.
And then you get them as a customer.
You get them as a customer. So that has been our key. It's just keeping friends, attracting people.
One word for the listeners, attention.
Attention.
Write that down. If you just put that in your mind, you will have a fantastic social media business.
Beautiful. And we can close on that, but I'll give you the listeners, and I'm going to give Mariluz and John the last word, and then I'll wrap up. But one of the things that you did was you built this tremendous culture of followers.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you ran into a major, well-known celebrity, Mr. Wonderful, and you posted a picture. And your social media account, I think, increased dramatically. If you want to just reference that for a second.
Yeah, it did. It did. I've since that picture, a lot of friends that didn't see me as a business owner see me as a business owner. As funny as that might sound, and now they call me, "Hey, Gian-Carlo, I've started a business. Can I ask you for some advice?" All the time. Just because of that picture, and now they understand.
And,
wow,
it's interesting because when you started this at 19, there was no respect.
No respect for me. No respect.
No respect.
Zero. People were killing me.
That
truly.
has changed completely.
No, now they call me.
Now people are like, how can I do what you do? I kind of like what you do. And
or hey, about finances. They've talked to me about finances. I said, how?
Exactly.
That picture. Isn't that funny?
Picture.
And I've had people wanting to interview me through podcasts just because of that picture.
I'm kidding me.
Yeah, I've had people do that. So it's funny, right? It's funny, the power of social media. It truly is. People could not respect you and then eventually change completely their mind about you.
Amazing. Well, listen, this has been a breath of fresh air to interview you both. You're both incredible people, incredible leaders. You're doing amazing things. You're blessing lots and lots and lots of people in your business. You're helping a lot of people, and through your social media, you're right. It is happy. It's I watch the way that you encourage people constantly. And, we're at a time where encouragement's needed. A lot of stuff going on in the world that isn't so encouraging for most people. So just that, hey, welcome to the team type of thing that you're doing is phenomenal. So once again, thank you both so much. Once again, this is the Leave Nothing to Chance podcast. This is the second episode, of hopefully hopefully hundreds and hundreds of these for the next, who knows how many years that we'll do them for. And on this podcast, once again, we meet remarkable people like the people that you just met here, Mariluz and Gian-Carlo, and there's more to come. So thank you very much. Now, one other thing, speaking of social media, and I learned this from Gian-Carlo, on WhatsApp, you can join our Leave Nothing to Chance social media group, where we'll be posting when calls are going up, who the speaker's going to be, a little bit about them. So once again, feel free to go up there and to join the Leave Nothing to Chance podcast. If you need the phone number for that, it's 972-259-0875. So thank you very much. Thank you both. Have a wonderful day.
John.
Take care, John.